Judas and the Black Messiah.
Great movie. Excellent. Amazing movie.
Phenomenal, right?
We're not gonna do any spoilers because it just came out. We just gonna give our.
Fuck that. We spoiling all of that.
No,
shit.
we not.
Honestly,
But it's like it's really not it's not much of a spoiler, right? Because it's like the same thing with One Night in Miami, right? These stories are crafted behind real life events, right?
Yeah.
So I actually on my way here, like when I pulled up, I was listening to this YouTube video, right? That was talking about like 10 things the movie got actual right and wrong, right? Because you realize with any movie, like there's going to be certain liberties they take, right?
Yeah.
And it's like even with him, how the FBI got a hold of him, it wasn't so black and white,
right?
You know, no pun intended, on how they just got him. It wasn't like he was still in the car that night. He got arrested, and he was a car thief, and they did get him as a result of being a car thief,
Doing some shit ain't had no business doing.
Yeah,
Right.
And but what I didn't realize, well, I guess I should have realized, is he wasn't the only one that they had.
Of course.
He was just
Right.
he was just probably, for lack of greater words, the best one, the one who was getting
highest ranking, most information.
Yep.
You know, was able to probably pull.
I would have loved to see now two things, right? So I remember not too long ago, I was reading an article from the rapper. I think her name is No Name.
Yep.
Somebody asked her why wasn't she on the soundtrack, right? And she said she was supposed to be. I think she was supposed to be on the one with Rhapsody, right?
Okay.
I think Rhapsody. Well, we'll get to that, right? But she said she wasn't on it because basically she didn't support the movie because. And this is why I disagree with her, because she said the movie was pretty much from the viewpoint of Bill O'Neill, and it didn't go so far into Fred Hampton. I think they did a great job of showing who Fred Hampton was, the power that he had around the people around him. But then I think they also did a great job of showing that dynamic of Bill O'Neill as well. I actually would have liked to see a bit of a longer film in how he got so close, because it did seem like it was like
Easy.
He just got too close too easy. I would have liked to see like, damn, it can be just so simple as like he get a car and he become his driver. Like
I think if you look at it like how it could be easy based on, you know, how he went throughout the movie approaching other people, even people that wanted his group, how he was so, you know, welcoming and like, hey, we can work together, we can do this, we can do that. So it don't seem far-fetched that like if you got a brother next to you saying like, hey, I'm with you, I'm fucking with you, and then I mean his friends, they did more due diligence. Like
Plus,
yeah.
you got to think Fred Hampton was young.
Yeah, he was young.
He's not gonna have the.
24? What was he? Somewhere around
He's
there?
young, but he's
Younger
not gonna
than
have
that.
the.
Maybe 23.
Yeah, someone younger than that. So you got this.
He may
you know,
he may not have had the discernment to be able to just weed people out at that age.
right.
We tend to do that with great men, right? I was saying this in the shop earlier, and I was talking about I was talking with a client about this movie and linking it to One Night in Miami, right? I mean, what a time. Amazon, well, this wasn't an Amazon film. This is
HBO Max.
HBO Max, right? But these are great films coming out, right? But I was just talking about how we don't like to recognize the flaws in great men. But another critical point is these are also young men. Like you look at Pac.
Right.
Yeah, you
Pac
have
was
great.
young.
Yeah, these great, powerful, you know, monumental men, but they're not perfect men.
Right.
Like, they fuck up too. They have the same. They have insecurities. They have things they have to worry about. They get caught slipping.
But I think just on a bigger scale, right? Honestly, I think people like that, and this kind of maybe going too deep, but I think people like
deeper.
that. I'm just
Go deeper.
so.
Hey, I ain't like that.
Yeah, that was awkward.
That tone was a little.
If you follow 5150 show, Zoe Williams, that's what he say. He be like, I like to go deeper. Because that's his tone. I know you ain't talking sucking whatever.
I feel like those great men, right? All great men are here for a purpose. They're not here to be here for a long time. They're here to do their purpose and then, get called back.
This nigga low key pulled out a canteen, bro.
I was just saying, like, people like Pac, people like Nip, people like Malcolm X, Dr. King.
Muhammad Ali.
Right. Well, Muhammad Ali lived a full life.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, when he was thrust into, like, the people's champ role,
Right.
and when he was connected to Malcolm X and those, he was still young. Right. Like, these were young men that were thrust into a role where they probably wasn't even looking to be, leaders of the community.
I don't think nobody ever wakes up and say, "Hey, I want to do this." It's usually the people, because I feel like the ones that wake up wanting that end up being the ones that want it for a different reason.
Right.
Like the
For
ones,
the fame and shit.
Yeah, the ones that just like had a genuine just to care about everybody around me, and then they just genuinely organically attract people, and it's like, oh, okay, all right. So I see what it means, but like to wake up and be like, "Hey, I want to do this."
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy thing is, like, you think about the dynamic in other communities. Like, what other communities? I feel like in other communities, like, they tell like their celebrities to, hey man, stay out of the politics and shit, right? Like, I can't think of another group of people who like thrust their celebrities and superstars into this platform where you have to be they just want you to align with political figures. It's real messy. It gets real messy though. But back to the movie, man, I hate that we can't spoil this movie. Tavis want to be that guy, But man, such a great fucking film though, man. It's like, if you can just do your due diligence on the Black Panther Party. There was a documentary that I watched on Hulu, I believe it's called. I think it's called like the Power Mixtape of '67.
Oh, yeah.
You saw that?
Yep.
It was like a documentary made by these Swedish filmmakers, and they wanted to give the African American experience through the eyes of Swedish filmmakers, bro. And they did a lot of interviews with basically all of those figures was alive then, and they talked about how back then we was just trying to build our numbers. We wasn't doing any background checks or anything like that. Like, we was just, hey, if you black, you say you with the struggle,
Yeah,
come on in.
The more the merrier right now.
Right. But see, at a point, I was kind of surprised by the ending, right? Because at a point, I was feeling like, what's his name, Bill, the main character. He, Lakeith's character. I felt like he was kind of like making a
He was
a
conflicted.
turn.
He was conflicted.
Right.
He was
felt
very,
like he was-
very conflicted,
Yeah.
and I think that's what kind of made the movie great, because like he wasn't as heartless as you probably thought he would be, but he made his decision for whatever the reason he went the route he did, but it fucking killed him.
Let's put some respect on. I don't know the actor's name. I don't know if y'all have your phones on you. No.
Talking about,
The
the
white
dark
guy.
skin-
The
oh,
white guy.
the white
The
guy, yeah.
FBI agent, right? Who played. He was also in Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah.
He played that similar. I liked his performance because it was a similar character that he played in Breaking Bad. Remember when he had
Jesse.
And that's how he kind of manipulated Jesse, right?
Yeah.
Where he just kind of like, you see this white man, right? And you in this, because look at the dynamic. It's like on one side you got Bill O'Neill, right? That's, even though he's not really truly a Panther, but he's still a black man. So his experiences being a black man dealing with white men is also conflicting with how this white man is treating him. This white man has brought him in his house. He's had him to dinner. He's giving him money, right? He's giving him these aspirations of, hey, you can do this too, right? But then on the other side of it, with the Panther Party, it's like this guy is manipulating him on what the party is, right?
Right.
But also, it's just like, what do I hold in higher regard, right? My own, like my own self, whatever, versus the people.
Right. And you have some people that care about, their people, but everybody don't agree with the Black Panther Party. Everybody don't agree with the methods and the this by force.
Right.
So man, he was probably one of those people that was like, maybe there's a different way to do this, or maybe in his head he had a different way, but he didn't fucking know.
But the thing about it,
my bad.
in the end, what caught my attention. Damn, I'm stuttering and shit. What caught my attention was he felt like he actually contributed to the movement. Like he said that.
I think that was just on camera. Just he didn't really believe that because if you found out what happened later on that night when that aired, that goes to show that he didn't.
Spoiler.
He killed himself. He died.
Wasn't me.
He died.
Wasn't me. But typical movie, right? The black guy dies at the end.
Right. No, I take it at the end rather than the beginning.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but again, this is. I mean, if you're not familiar with these characters or you're not familiar with the history, right? Because these are not just characters; these are real life people, right? And so, yeah, it would be a spoiler, but I mean, this is not like it's not common knowledge. You know what I mean? It's not like you watch it.
You know, people don't do history. You know, people don't fact check shit. People don't know stories exist until they see it in the movie, and then they're like, "Oh, this happened in real life.
Right.
Let me look it up." And now it's like, "Oh, this is cool."
Yeah.
But people don't. A lot of people ain't fucking know that happened. I
think that I would love to know what was that actor's like. I just feel like they cast him because of the way he played that same sort of character in Breaking Bad. It was just like, it's not, you look at this guy and he just looks non-threatening and he speaks with such a tone, right? Where it's just like, it's easy for him to manipulate somebody like Bill O'Neill who was just searching for a way to
better his life and get himself out of a hole.
Right.
Yeah. You know, he was self-serving. He was trying to figure out like, how the fuck do I get this shit done?
Right.
Like he ain't trying to go to jail. He already stealing calls. Like he ain't got much.
Right.
So it's like, all right, well, this gonna be your last shit. So it's like, do or die. And he was like, well, fuck it. If I'm gonna do it, if I feel like I have to do it, I'm gonna at least make it worth it. Like I want the money, I want this, I want all this shit. Cause if I'm gonna do it anyway, fuck it. Like I at least want to be able to go off somewhere, and not have to worry about this shit again.
I think, I mean, it's such a basic human behavior to just assume how you would react under same conditions as somebody else. Right. It's like, yeah, you do have a certain moral compass, right? Where you just be like, yo, certain things I'm not doing. You know what I'm saying? But given the right motivation, I think you said this before, like everybody got a price.
Hold on. Now
there's not a price for everything, but there's a price to compromise people's morals.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, you just hope to never find yourself in a position where you have to. But then again, there's some people who, you know, they wouldn't mind being in that position, right? Where it's just like, hey, it wasn't so bad.
Fun fact. I think like 50 or 51% of the FBI's workforce is are informants.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, so it's a lot of these motherfuckers out here just like, shit, well, he doing it too? Right. Like when he found out the other dude, just whatever, I'm about to do another spoiler, but when he found out, he was like, oh. And like you said, it's never just one. Like somebody gonna get it, and he's like, well, shit. Like, well, if he gonna do it, like I need to make sure what I'm doing is more than what this motherfucker doing.
Didn't they just find out like the leader of the Proud Boys was like an informant?
I didn't hear that.
Did they?
Yeah. Like,
I didn't hear that.
bro, this is what the FBI does, bro.
Yeah, they
infiltrate. Organizations are meant to be infiltrated.
Right.
And
I was just patting you down, make sure you ain't had nothing on.
I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I thought I stepped on his phone or something. So I'm like doing a leg search and shit.
This kind of segues into a question I asked Tavis and Io when we watched it. Which snitch do you think is more hateable between what's the other movie, Queen and Slim, and this character?
Between the Florida dude,
yeah. Which one would you say?
Definitely Bill O'Neill though, because he compromised an organization, right? He compromised a leader,
right?
Queen and Slim like was more so like it was fucked up.
It was a movement behind that too, though.
Yeah,
people
what I'm saying, it was fucked up, but it was something that could have been avoided, right? Mm-hmm. At some point, like you probably could have turned yourself in, or I'm vague on. I remember the movie, but I just remember like at some point, are you gonna run forever?
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so that was,
that you know it ends like this happily ever after shit. I love that movie. Stop doing all this happily ever after shit.
Yeah,
like I love it. And it's like
but I love that movie because she went the opposite of Get Out. Mm-hmm. She didn't let the audience off the hook.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But the Florida snitch dude, we agree he was less because, again, I mean, if we talking about Florida niggas, it's like, all right,
typical Florida.
Yeah, it's like, all right, well, fuck it. Like
fuck boy shit in Florida.
He was hit up before, had a bag, and he was like, he ain't only people from a can of paint. Like he ain't give a shit.
There was no alliance, no ties.
There was no familiarity. Yeah. There was no I'm not betraying because I don't fucking know you. You not even from my.
Shawty, I don't know no fuck name, Shawty. I don't know no fuck name, Shawty.
Shawty,
that motherfucking money, Shawty.
Shawty is
that motherfucking bag, Shawty.
It's an Atlanta thing.
Shawty, oh, y'all don't see Shawty down there.
We don't say Shawty.
Y'all say, man?
We don't say Maine either.
What the fuck y'all say?
I don't know. We don't.
Oh, you've been removed too long. He don't know.
I remember.
Nah, we usually people say fool a lot. People say, but it ain't Maine and Shawty. We ain't that southern. Again, I just want to South Florida ain't really.
I've been to Atlanta in the winter. I want to go there in the summer, bro, and just we should just go there, bro. And I just want to run up on you niggas and be like, what up, Shawty, man? Hey, Shawty, man, I ain't seen your ass no motherfucking long time, Shawty, man.
You had the young ones be like, lame ass nigga.
Talk like Plies. You motherfuckers.
Plies talks like nobody talks like Plies but Plies. I don't know what that is.
Right. Give me some of them motherfucking greens.
Boy. To go back to see this question, the bill was the worst because he put time and effort and game.
And it was,
even though he was kind of forced
they both resulted in a death, but
even though
literally led them to their death though. He said, "Yo, I'm gonna take y'all. Yeah, I got y'all. I'm gonna take y'all to the plane. My guy, he got the plane, knowing damn well what he was doing the whole time.
Well, he probably didn't know what they was going to do to them.
He knew. Nah, he knew.
He knew it wasn't going to end well.
They killed a cop.
Yeah,
and
but
he was on the run.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember, like, why did they shoot them? Did they turn around and try to like run towards the plane? Like, what led to them shooting them? I don't remember the end of the movie.
It was pretty much that. It was pretty much no.
Because they didn't shoot them like on sight.
No, they just shot because they were standing there. Right. They were kind of like
they didn't follow orders, pretty much. Type shit.
Yeah, I guess
it's like put your hands down.
Yeah.
But they didn't run. They didn't make a quick gesture. It was all of a sudden just a clap.
Right.
And he looked. He got shot, and he carried her
right
walking toward them. It was like, I'm gonna show you what y'all did, and then for no reason, it was all right. We'll just
yeah, that was a bit of theatrics in that, right? Because it's like this guy's posing no threat at all. His arms are clearly like so. It was like, I mean, I get it. It was a good movie, but it's like sometimes with these movies you can be like, all right, man, y'all definitely just trying to get a rise out the audience. Right?
I mean, it's not too far fetched.
It's not far fetched, but it's like it's a thin line between far fetched and like unlikely.
Honestly, with the climate that we live in, I don't think anything's unlikely. I think I'm not gonna say we, but
But what I'm saying is like this is like I don't were cameras there? Well, like when
there
was
no
news
cameras.
there?
No.
I think further off, they probably didn't.
First and foremost, bro, we doing this debate over these.
Right.
One didn't happen in existence. One did.
You're right.
So,
we talking about something fictional, or something real life.
Back to the movie. Back to Judas and the Black Messiah.
Right. Soundtrack. Fucking
Nipsey
amazing, right?
And Hove track. I was listening to that shit for like days.
I gotta say, shout out to my boy Dash at Digital Prince on Instagram. He executive produced that album. Right. I think Hit Boy, I'm not sure if Hit Boy produced the whole album, but I know he did some of the most memorable tracks.
So that song was 1500 and Mars, my guy Mars on Instagram. They produced that Hove and Nip record.
Okay.
That's dope. my lady got upset at me because like I was working when it came out, and like first thing we got in the car, I started playing it, and I was like, oh, I said Nip and Jay-Z just dropped, let me listen to it,
Right.
and started playing it, and she wanted to have a conversation. I was like, all right, cool, all right. I turned it down. I was like, what you say, baby? And then she said, and I was like, okay. Like I didn't. It was just turn it back up, and I played it. She's like, "Oh, you started over again." I say, "Yeah, baby," because I said I wanted to hear the song,
Right.
And you started, and she's like, "Oh, okay, well, my bad." I
You
was like, "No, I
you
love
about to give an anime moment. Anime.
no, it's fine."
Turn this shit down one last time.
I said, "No, I wanted to hear
If
what
I
you
turn this shit
said."
up again, I'm gonna turn it up.
It's like, no, I wanted to hear what you said, but also I said before you started talking, I wanted to hear this.
Right.
You got to do that glasses dip thing, like. I'm gonna say this shit one more time. Phenomenal fucking soundtrack, man. I was so proud of my guy, man, for putting this thing together. Right, you can definitely tell like Chicago brother EP this album because it's littered with Chicago artists, right? But namely to secure a whole verse,
Right.
in today, regardless, bro, that's like just finding a stash of Bitcoin or some shit, bro. Like that.
Man, that shit worth more than Bitcoin. What you think of Jay-Z featured Run?
Whoo,
Right.
whoo.
I mean,
shit.
Because
probably like $500,000.
That's low. The baby right now is
300.
charging 300.
I heard,
Baby is?
The baby.
I heard Drake is $1 million. So
Sheesh.
right.
Hope you can't afford Hope.
Yeah,
that's
nah.
your whole.
Yeah.
That's your whole
that's your whole
rollout
life.
budget.
Yeah, that's your
Like you can't
a whole
afford
verse
Hope.
is
You
worth
can't.
more than
That's
niggas'
why,
life.
like, and you think about it, the older Hove got his verses, him and Andre 3000.
Yeah.
A verse from either one of them is like, man, like you just, and it's like they pick and choose what to jump on, right? Because I can't sully my brand by just jumping on, by jumping on whoever got money,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It can't just be about money. Like, what are we talking about? Like this, he had to come out for the nip, right?
He said, you let them crackers storm your capital, put their feet up on your desk, and you talking crazy. He said, you talking tough to me. I lost all my little respect. That shit was crazy.
Keep it going. You ain't got no more than
I don't
that.
got no more. That's the only part I know. That's the only part I know.
It's still new.
Yeah.